National Football League Commissioner Roger Goodell facing questions at the site of this year's Super Bowl on the question of racial bias in the league.
To me, this is an opportunity for us to step back, look at what we're doing, look what we should be doing, and how we can lead to better results.
The questions come in the wake of Brian Flores' lawsuit against the league alleging racial discrimination. Goodell on Monday met with 5 civil rights leaders, including the Reverend Al Sharpton. They called on the commissioner to overhaul the Rooney Rule, the league's 20-year policy that requires teams to interview minority candidates for coaching and executive positions. They requested the meeting with Goodell to, quote, establish specific recruiting and hiring practices that carry meaningful consequences for teams that do not meet those requirements. Flores, most recently head coach of the Dolphins, fired in January, accused the Dolphins, the New York Giants, and the Denver Broncos with racial discrimination in a proposed class action suit. With the Giants, Flores alleged the team had already decided who would be its next head coach before he was scheduled to interview for the position. He cited congratulatory text messages he received from Patriots coach Bill Belichick that seemed to be intended for Brian Daboll, who the Giants ultimately hired. He spoke about it on the CBS Morning News last week.
We didn't have to file a lawsuit for the world to know that there's a problem from a hiring standpoint in regards to minority coaches in the National Football League. The numbers speak for themselves.
Right.
We filed the lawsuit so that we could create some change, and that's important to me.
Flores called the Giants' interview a sham, and his attorneys claim it was only conducted to comply with the league's so-called Rooney Rule.
I think that's the core of the message that we've been talking about here is, okay, we're not having the success we want with head coaches. How do we evolve that rule? Or do we have to have a new rule? Do we need to figure out some other way of being able to achieve that outcome? And I think we're not going to rest until we find that.
In a news release, National Urban League President Mark Morial called the rule well-intentioned, but said it had the effect of being an extraneous step in regards to interviews with candidates of color rather than an integral part of the hiring process.
I admire and respect Coach a lot, and so I hope we'll get a lot of feedback, not just from Coach Flores, but everybody in this league.
In that same release from civil rights organizations, the Reverend Al Sharpton vowed that his National Action Network would approach states and municipalities to stop public funding and tax incentives to NFL stadiums until the league's firm commitments and timetables and goals are solid and made public.